push,
Yeah.
and I expect them to keep doing well. I would really like to see this LTD versus Liquid matchup. It's probably going to decide who wins the group. But other than that, who else is in there?
I mean, we got Secret as well, which I think some
Right,
people
it's
were
EG.
expecting more from.
Secret, yeah. They didn't do that well yesterday.
Same
That's
series
true.
as Empire. I mean, Empire were a team that I don't know where expectations were set, Blitz. I mean, if you're going into a scrim versus Empire, what's kind of the conversation that happens beforehand?
I mean, I think it's a little bit awkward just because you know they have a stand-in. Obviously, it's a high-skill stand-in, but it's still somebody that they haven't played with. So I talked with Rezo yesterday. We hung out when we went to work out together, and he was just telling me, like, there's still an adjustment period that has to be made. Sure. But this is what groups are for. The only Skypes you do, you just talk about our futures and stuff like that.
Who are the gym buddies? It's like the gym
Rezo
group.
and Zai. That's the boys.
Oh,
Zai?
wow.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Occasionally I get to tag along, and he tells me I'm doing it all wrong.
No, you're the
Gives me
best,
loads of
Alex.
tips. He's lying. He's not very. He's lying. We're going to get Quinn down the gym, though. He's going to be doing stretches for the majority of this one.
Yeah, that sounds rough.
Yeah? Dude, I could see you being a gym rat in no time. But you're a Dota rat, and that's... Wait, what am I talking about? You're a Dota rat, and I like that. Crossing my legs and talking more about the IGV boys, because I know that we talked about IG, both of them. We were kind of getting quite excited about the prospect of maybe both IG teams making a deep run. One started a little better than the other, though. 1 and 3 for IGV.
I think some of these results aren't too indicative of how strong the teams actually are. Like, we've been talking about how well LGD's been doing, but I don't know. It doesn't mean that much. They've played Fnatic, they played Empire, and they played one other, not super top tier team. They haven't played TNC, EG, Liquid yet.
Sure.
And sort of the opposite for IGV. They played EG and Liquid, so two of the strongest teams. So I think, the first day, the results definitely mean something, but you kind of have to look at the teams they've played. So I think IGV is potentially still, a very strong team. They qualified first in the China region, so above both the LGDs, which is a little surprising.
Yeah, so far, of course. I think it is sometimes difficult to reflect too much on just the opening results because we've only got our first day under our belt, right, Pycat? When do we see that the kind of cream separating from the milk? That's an expression I'm again making up.
Yeah, you're full of them today, man.
Thanks, man.
I think at the end of today we will pretty much see. I think there will be a kind of an outline of how our team. Yeah, I think so. At the end of today, I think we will kind of know how are these teams looking. You'll have a sort of fair assessment of like the majority of the group.
Yeah.
You'll understand. This team is going to be obviously some teams might be already in the upper bracket. Some teams might already be in the lower bracket. And yeah, usually on the last days, it's where you decide, like, there's a couple teams left and they have like a few matches left to play, which dictates if they get in or out,
Yeah.
Could be the last team who gets the last place and stuff like that. But I think we'll pretty much know, like, the majority of it.
Okay, so tomorrow is going to, by the end of today, we'll have that kind of just a little
An
bit
outline,
more
yeah,
an
sort of.
outline
I think so.
That's going to go, and how that top 4 will look, of course, is huge amount on the line by getting that top 4. Now, into Group B, there is something that we kind of a conversation we didn't breach in our first day of broadcast, and that's, of course, surrounding the real surprises, the curveballs that were thrown in just through those qualification processes. I mean, there wasn't many that from the open qualifiers slipped through. In fact, Hellraisers are the name that I want to kind of throw at you guys and just see if, who's going to bite. Saxa is hanging out there. I mean, why is your face looking so twisted, Will?
I mean, I don't know, because Planet Odd's here. I was here as like a last-second replacement. Sox is coaching a team that's 0-2.
Yeah, okay.
Rezo's not doing so hot. Like,
hey, Rezo had a Luna game.
They won game.
Yeah, like, what happened, honestly? Like, it's like, I get this team, I coach them to, second place TI, and then I kind of, give them to you, and like, what happened?
We kind of made it here, like, in
Liquid
pieces.
went off too.
Yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
we kind of made, like, that's not my...
This doesn't reflect very well.
We sort of made it here.
What's the difference in your coaching styles? Do you know? I feel like you're a stern leader, Pycat. I feel like you'd have like a dark room. Where am I taking this? That you take those that underperform.
I think
Stern talking to.
Well, I think if I have an idea, then I kind of like to be able to kind of follow through with it. Even if you don't use it, I like to see where it goes. Like, at least follow through with the idea, and you can check it out. And if you don't like it, then fuck it. Then that's fine.
Sure.
But I think yeah, when I have an idea, I like to use it, and I like to kind of try to implement that. I feel like
what's the definition of implement? You mean as in really give it like
yeah,
time?
like actually help DC quite a lot in. It was, I think, it was very apparent that that was kind of the style of play at the winner bracket finals, or loser bracket finals, sorry, against EG, game 3. Was, and also the game where Rezo kind of single-handedly took 3 sides of Rex with Morphling, while the rest of the team was just fighting. So,
well, we get to see him in Empire now. And this is interesting, just kind of the discussion surrounding coaches. I think it'd be fun to kind of dip just a bit deeper into this. I mean, 2 of you have got experience very recently, or at least I'm going to say semi-recently coaching. I mean, this is not something you've kind of ventured into yet, CCNC, but I mean, just the impact that coaches have on a team. I mean, we're about to...
They're going to go in with, and hopefully you try to influence as much as you can, but at the end of the day, you're not playing right. So there's only so much influence you can have. You can have an idea of what you can tell them. Like, for example, when we played against IG at Epicenter, we had a good idea of the kind of vision game that they wanted to play, and I just like poured over replays, told them like, this is probably what you can expect. This is probably where they're going to try to start. They don't like playing the offlane game too much. We realize like their 2 supports like to move around the map as much as possible, but they're not really going to ever mess with Rezo. So we try to give him as late game of a hero as possible so that he could 1v5. But for the most part, like, you're just kind of there to make sure that things don't go horribly wrong, or they're going in like the wrong
we were
direction.
also kind of different coaches, I think, right?
Yeah.
We kind of had different roles as I see it, right? Because
Different
I was
styles?
more like a, well, for me, I think it was a lot about being kind of the, well, me and Misery, we would kind of bounce ideas off one another, and just kind of we would think up something new for every game, you know, some ideas or whatever, and like we'd kind of create the draft for the team. But you did more kind of like
tendencies
boosting the team and like stuff, or would you say?
It was like, I would say more on Liquid. Probably the more important role is just to make sure that people weren't like killing each other.
Right.
Whereas on DC or Planet Odd / Thunderbirds and everything, I guess it was more of everything. Like we'd go over stuff. We just talk to each other about Dota, making sure that we're thinking about the right ideas and stuff like that.
So who do you like talking to the most in that team? Like who would you talk, maybe aside from Misery, I guess?
Probably Rezo.
Yeah?
We just like talk about the game. We'd say like, we're not doing Roshan very well. This is something that we need to work on. Maybe this isn't good enough. But at the end of the day, it's all talk, right? It's like,
right.
You can't really play for somebody.
I think the emotional side of it, or like the keeping people like mentally sound, is something that's like underrated that coaches do. Like, we didn't really have a coach for Freedom, but we had like one of Stan's friends that just came with us and like was at the boot camp, and he didn't really, you know, he plays Dota, but he's not like, you know, very good at it.
Right.
But he was more just like the emotional coach. Like when we're losing scrims, we're losing matches, you know, like, you know, just talking to us, helping us like get our thoughts out, communicate with each other. Like someone like that, I think, is also super valuable and like very underrated. And you see coaches like Mad that sort of are both best of both worlds. They're very good at Dota, very smart, as well as being this player that, you know, helps people get their thoughts out and helps keep like the air, you know, positive and clear.
Yeah. So it's kind of it's almost just managing the emotional aspect of Dota. Actually, I was watching a Sin's cast just yesterday. He was talking about just how much emotion plays a part in Dota, and just how much like people don't realize it is an emotional game as well. Pyke, would you kind of agree with that sentiment, or do you believe it is at the end of the day it's all just kind of ones and zeros?
Well, I think it definitely depends on what team you look at. I mean, we saw
Let's use some examples from the board behind us.
Yeah, well, I mean, we got the EG, the robots. We got the, you know, the TI5 winning, and I mean...
Come on, expand upon the robots of EG.
I've looked happier going to the store and buying coffee than they did after winning TI, you know? It's like, then there's some others. I mean, I remember like Navi, they were always really happy when they played.
Yeah.
There's like Ad Finum, who just loses it whenever they win a match.
To be fair, that was a unique case, wasn't it, Ad Finum?
Yeah.
That was a unique case, and it hasn't gone great since.
No, but those guys, they're very emotional. So I think it really depends on what kind of team you are. Actually, I think it's like, because usually it's like the core of the team. It's like 3 people. They will kind of dictate. If you have 3 chill dudes, then you'll probably go towards the more, you know, the relaxed one. And then if you have 3 pretty hype people, I guess the 2 others will kind of just have to.
Where do OG fit into that category? Those categories?
Didn't they used to be like really? I mean, Nota used to be really
hype.
Because
I can't imagine Fly shouting ever.
No, I think if you saw the True Side video, and I talked to Matt about this, because the funny thing is, like, when we played them at Manila, we all had to use the same room to like, and so we're we're like standing like 20 feet apart.
Oh god, so everyone's
You
whispering.
can't hear anybody, but for the most part, like you can kind of tell how the talk's going. And like for us, I could tell like both teams are like super relaxed. You know, you have Mad, who is kind of like the emotional core from what we saw. Like he's the guy dictating stuff, and it confirmed everything that I thought in the True Side video, where he was telling everyone like, calm down, guys, like take it one game at a time, because when you're that deep into a tournament, you're gonna make like minor adjustments. But for the most part, you just have this sixth guy who's telling everyone objectively like, it's fine, we got out drafted, move on from the game. Sometimes like everyone needs to hear that, otherwise you get this nervousness that starts to exist.
I mean, just on the topic of Truth Sight, what did you make of the way VP were kind of, well, in their mind, they were painted like villains, but also just getting to see a little bit of how their team dynamic is. I thought it was very interesting to kind of catch that. Quinn, what did you make of like seeing, did you catch the documentary?
Yeah, I think like a lot of teams have a similar dynamic, where, you know, not that they're like, you know, they hate other teams or anything, but whenever you're in these really long tournaments and you're playing against a lot of other teams, there's a very thin line between like confidence and cockiness that you kind of want to find, where, you know, you think we can beat this other team, but you don't become so confident that you start like disrespecting them, or you don't do prep work because you're like, oh, we got this.
No, but I mean, everyone playing a video game ever, doesn't matter what it is gonna, you know, you start chatting a bit of smack, right, to kind of get yourself or your teammates hyped up.
Yeah, for sure.
That's a reality of the games we play. But I mean, as a team, representing the CIS nation, trying to go ahead and do their, well, the Commonwealth, I should say, doing the very best they can. Virtus Pro and their chances has not been something that we've actually actively discussed. I know that there's been a lot of kind of ups and downs for Virtus Pro. Have you ever been on that hype train for Virtus Pro, Pycat? Have you ever been kind of to in that horn? Because you don't seem convinced, and I want to know why. I want to explore this.
Well, I think it is a little bit of that. I mean, I think they're a pretty cool team.
Sure.
In a way, it's just they do have some of these players who are a bit more.
We back to emotions?
Yeah, a little
We
bit
are,
emotions, I guess.
okay.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, they come across as a bit cocky sometimes with you know, with a certain right. But yeah, I feel like some of them could, you know, take a bit of a chill pill sometimes.
Sure.
But I mean, hey, it's fresh to see like different things. You gotta have some storylines in Dota. You know, you can't have all the good guys and then. So I think VP, you know, they're doing the thing, and you know, I'm glad that we have a team like VP at least, because without them it would be pretty, you know.
Yeah,
pretty colorless.
We need a bit of everything, and I think VP are definitely fun to get to see exactly what they are capable of and how they go about achieving that. Perhaps emotions are going to be a discussion we keep returning to, but it is something that's interesting. But we can bring up what's coming up today, and indeed VP do feature, in fact, in a matchup that already our analysts have said that they're most looking forward to. You can see it on stream 2. We ended our day yesterday, and I believe all three of you, kind of your eye was drawn not only to Newbee OG, undoubtedly something that we will be discussing and at length, but Virtus Pro versus LFY. Do you think this is going to be their first like big test for both teams really? Pycat.
Yeah, definitely. I think that this game is whoever wins this will be. I mean, if there's a 2-0, either team will be on top of the group, and yeah, so for sure it's like the top game of the group.
Yeah. Do you consider that to be a kind of opposing style as well in that one, or I see that the thought process going through?
Yeah, I think so to some extent. VP are kind of more aggressive, and I'd say that LFY is a bit more. They tend to kind of take a slower approach to the game. They chill a bit more, but I do think that LFY are actually pretty versatile. They can kind of do a lot of things.
Okay, now Will, you talked about this before. Yesterday you spoke about Newbee, and you spoke about how they are the most patient team you've ever seen play Dota. They're going up against OG. How do those two match?
The thing is there's always been this saying around OG is they don't play Dota until 20 minutes. Like they don't really care about anything.
Okay.
But once it hits the mid game, this team hits you like a truck. Like they team fight aggressively. They start taking towers down. I don't think I ever see them waste smokes. Like they're probably one of the best teams at smokes, which is such an underrated thing. Oftentimes you'll see teams just aimlessly smoke. They'll go as 5. They won't really run into anything. OG is a team that capitalizes on these opportunities. They're very aggressive with it. And for a lot of teams, it's kind of like, whoa, calm down. Like, and they can't really match the pace. But for a team like Newbee, I don't know. Sometimes they're also a bit of slow starters. Like when we played against them, it felt like they were just playing the game very casually. They didn't really have too many objectives in mind. They like Quinn said, they take towers later than any other team. They're just really calm. So it's a really weird style clash because somebody has to be aggressive.
So you think that both teams are just going to chill?
So do you think our
I think
casters for
that-
the first 20 minutes are going to be like, well,
I think that in a game like that, I think OG will be a little bit more aggressive. I
Okay.
think they'll ramp it up and they'll
Yeah.
take a little bit more initiative. Because I think Newbee, no matter what,
What do you think
For good or
about
bad?
CC's SCCC versus Ana?
oh, that's a hype matchup. When we played them at Genting and at Galaxy Battles, we could tell like this guy's a beast. In China, I think he's one of the top 3 mid laners that I consistently see play. Just such a high skill ceiling, never messes up. This guy shoves in waves like nobody's business. He's very objective focused. He knows what he's doing at all times. It doesn't feel like he ever gets confused. And Ana at the same time, I think has stepped it up big time.
Right.
Since Boston, I think he was a little bit shaky, but ever since then, like this guy doesn't really lose lanes too often.
No, he doesn't. I mean, he definitely stepped up big time.
because
anyways.
yeah, there was criticism thrown towards Ana for a while, Quinn. And I mean, what was the initial criticism towards someone who's obviously, as we've discussed, started to kind of climb out of his shell somewhat?
I think a lot of the criticism was that he's a weaker laner than a lot of the highest tier
laning phase.
mids. Yeah, I think it was most of the laning phase. I don't think anyone can debate how good he is at like spellcasting. His late game decision making is like very, very good. But I think his laning was shaky maybe months ago, but I think it's gotten a lot better, and he's definitely like very solid. Like he's not gonna lose a lane to anyone.
Did you play those guys?
Anna in like pubs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
SCCC? Ana pubs and whatnot?
I played against SCCC like one time in a pub, and he was definitely solid. I've played against Anna several times, and he's definitely like a very, very good player. You can tell this guy when you're playing against him in lane, like he knows what he's doing.
SCCC or Ana?
I think both of them.
Okay, both
Did
of them.
Imagine
I didn't
casters
So
lane
who'd you
versus
give the-
SCCC.
Oh, you didn't lane versus him?
I know.
Okay.
I lane versus Anna.
Okay,
SCCC was
okay,
playing like support or
Alright.
something.
It would have sounded like you were stuttering if you were casting that, just like kind of like SCCC versus CNCC. Anyway, CC my playmate.
Nice.
Dude, this is the guy that solo killed Miracle, so
That's right. Yeah, and we did
forget
get to
that.
see a little bit of the 9K Invoker come out as well.
I think that's something that is going to be pretty contested between these two players because they have a very similar hero pool. Like you think of both those players, you think of Invoker, you think of Storm Spirit, and like only one team can have those heroes.
Does
So
SCCC play a lot of Ember?
he used to. That hero's sort of fallen out of
Yeah,
pocket
it's kind of
play,
fallen out a bit, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And I mean, so in terms of head-to-head, if I asked for 2 players to watch from the 2 games we've discussed, so do you want to just kind of stick with SCC and Ana for the mid lane, or do you want to go elsewhere? Anyone want to take it elsewhere? You happy with that mid lane? I know you said it was hype matchup, Will, but you didn't quite explain as to why.
between Newbee and OG,
Yeah.
I just feel like you're gonna see who's a real contender here. Like OG, they came into TI with question marks because of last year, but you can't blame the son for the sins of the father, right? This is a completely different team. This is a team that has revamped. They won 2 majors. They're focused. I can tell they're hungry, and they have more experience under their belt.
Yeah.
If you compare this group stage for a lot of teams, for example, from last year, Liquid, they needed that year under their belts. Matuma Man and Mind Control, they needed to experience what a TI was under Kuro.
Sure.
And now they're a lot better going into the groups. They finished 5-1, and for OG, I think this is time to set things straight. Newbee has the same question marks. If you remember, Newbee's always been that team that going into a TI or a major, they look so good. How many times have they won an event right before a major or TI? Boston Major, bomb out, 16th place. Kiev Major, 16th again to Liquid, I believe. It's like every single time they disappoint. Last TI, they got 12th to Liquid. And it's like this time around, you won Galaxy Battles, you won the other LAN against, what was it, NP that they played against?
Was that Zotac?
Yeah, they won the Zotac Cup. They won 2 LANs in a row coming into this. Like, prove yourselves. Show that you are a team that has it all together.
So a proving ground for both teams. One, of course, OG's hunger is unparalleled, I believe, at this point in time. When you get the majors, you get all of those steps, and you just can't quite find that crescendo, that Aegis, that title that would truly cement you into the history books of Dota. Though they may be there already.
They're probably there already.
But
I'd
I mean,
say.
come on,
if
there
you
is
win
no
4 out of
argument.
5
If you win 4 out of 5 majors and
that's
you
like-
don't do well at a TI, then you don't feel good.
You don't
As a
feel
team,
You don't feel good, but I mean, you gotta be in the books already, right? I mean, they've won 4 out of 5 majors.
Yeah, but
It's
from,
like you
I think
can't
from
go
their
to a
perspective,
major.
But yeah.
There's a higher chance that OG wins a major than any other team combined.
But it's TI.
But it's
exactly.
TI. If you don't win a TI, then the year I looked at Moon's face after they won 2 majors last year. After he bombed out a TI, it meant nothing. The year meant nothing. It felt like it was a waste.
It's like, I mean, I'm trying to think of a parallel from somewhere else. It's like the, oh God, I don't even know American sports. The Super Bowl. It's in tennis. It's for some reason it's that Wimbledon. Though there are Grand Slams all over the place. Getting that one on the grass, this one with the crowd, with the history attached to it as well. I mean, think about it. Look how far we've come from TI1 to TI7 as well. The game has grown with you as the players have got older. The tournament has got older and has got bigger, and it's just I think something that everyone to have your name inscribed on that trophy is something.
All right. So how many majors would you have to win for it to equal a TI?
40.
40 majors.
40 majors. If they win the next 4 years of majors, then OG,
That's not 40.
You won TI.
Well, there's like 11. Yeah, do the math. What checks out?
It's close
so
enough.
What, if they win
there's
all
11 now.
majors,
All right, that's true.
Yeah.
if they lose TI now and they win 11 majors,
Then they can be, I'm sure, but at the same time, like, you'll be happy about it, no doubt. Like, when you're winning the majors.
but would you be happier winning a TI than winning 11 majors, like all 11 majors this year?
I have to ask you that, and
Yeah,
CCNC,
come on
if you could know right now that you can win a TI or the 11 majors, you're taking the TI,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
You're
for
taking
sure.
the TI as well.
I'll
You're
probably take the
competitive.
TI.
Exactly. That's why.
Compare the titles, a
closed.
major winner
Yeah.
to a TI winner.
Exactly.
Like,
But isn't that just a thing though? Isn't that just about the statement, right?
but it matters to the players, right? Like,
yeah, I guess. But is it? Should it? If
It
you
should.
actually win for an entire year, all tournaments, even though like you will be obviously competing with the best teams,
Yeah.
you will have proven yourself on a longer period of time. Is it then just what TI is much more prestigious?
I think so.
And is that it?
I think the beauty of it is that it's so like you have this opportunity once a year. Everything you've worked for, everything that you've kind of put your year into. I mean, you guys have tried. We've had you standing behind them, getting that. You got that win as a coaching role. Now you sit here. You're going to be back in the playing seat. You try everything, but either way, it culminates in TI. This is like the way. This is the big one, the climax at the end. We always get there eventually, and we are getting there very shortly. In fact, it sounds like the players are going to be loading in, so we can kind of get our closing thoughts on this one. We've already agreed. OG hungrier than ever. Despite having no major issues, of course, we've talked about that 4 out of 5, but it doesn't mean anything.
Is that the second time you used that pun?
Oh, I didn't even mean to make a pun that time. They haven't had issues with majors,
sure.
but yes, TI is where the hunger lies, and they are going to be clashing with Newbee. That is going to be their first game. In terms of drafts, is there anything that fun could pop up in terms of where OG and Newbee may want to take this? What would your expectations be, Will, when we start talking draft?
I'd like to see Pitlord again from Newbee. That was something I was like, are they just messing with us because they know they're going to TI? At Galaxy Battles, they were just picking Pitlord all the time.
Did it work?
Yes, Alex, it destroyed us.
They
We got
picked
knocked out of that
against
tournament
Furion,
with it. Yeah, it was because of our NP strat, but I don't think they run it very often. So I guess it's a little bit different there. I'd like to see OG throw a little bit more flavor into the pool.
Yeah.
I think they're a little bit too comfortable yesterday.
Would you use the word vanilla with their draft?
Yeah, because at the end of the day, you're going to come back to what you were comfortable and what you won with. So I'd like to see them expand it a little bit, but we'll see.
No more Lich this time. Maybe the OG weren't the main offenders for that. But Pike, anything to add to the pile? I mean, well, like, there's nothing
we've
in the
seen,
same vein as
like,
Liquid.
OG do run their sometimes they do go with these like what Visage, Arc Warden carries, somewhat unorthodox, right? So it could be fun to see those. At the same time, I feel like I haven't seen them have that much success with this Arc Warden, I think.
Yeah.
So for their sake, maybe not. I don't know. But I mean, Noto plays some fun heroes. He played Pugna. Pugna was 5 out of 5, right?
Yeah, 5 out of 5.
He's 5 out of 5, so I wouldn't mind seeing some Pugna. He's pretty cool, you know.
I'm down.
He does his thing.
And draft aside, predictions. What do we think? So, of course, it's best of 2 for anyone that's just joined us. You get 1 point on the table per win of a game. So that's the way it works. I'm thinking team names now, though, gents. What are you thinking? I'm looking at you in the middle, Will. Give me just give me a team name or give me a number.
I'm with my coaches stick together. We're like a union. 2-0 OG over Newbee. Newbee doesn't have a coach to my knowledge. Mad all the way.
Okay. Coaches get you wins,
Yeah,
apparently.
definitely.
No argument there.
All the way.
And now, CCNC, you want to break the chain? You want to be the combo breaker? Or
I think I'm going to say OG as well.
Yeah.
I think the most interesting thing about this game is that both teams play very slow, sort of like we talked about. I think it's going to be about who can get away with more, because neither team really plays this really fast style, so both teams may be picking all of these greedy heroes, you know, playing very slow Dota, so there's potential for someone to like mix it up, and I think OG is more likely to mix it up.
So, I mean, surely that's common knowledge for the teams as well, right? So in your mind, do you not think there's a chance that, you know, Mad or someone is going to be like, let's play differently, let's bring the fight to them early, you know, and change their
I think there is potential for that.
But OG more so than Newbee?
Yeah, I think Newbee just almost always plays slow. They really like waiting.
Do you think that's something that can be exploited? Is something we'll discuss in the middle of the day? That's right, you'll be seeing more of us. We'll be joining you after the first 2 series to continue to talk about this one, at least the majority of us will. For now, though, let's jump in. It's time to kick off day 2 with your very first game on Stream 1. 4 streams simultaneously, but this one has Newbee versus OG.
Thank you very much, Alex. And indeed, we're here ready to kick off another day of Dota on TI7 group stages. I'm OD Pixel. I'm going to be joined by Fogged, of course. And we're ready to take you through this first series. You've got Newbee versus OG. The draft is underway. Fogged, how are you doing?
Good morning, Owen.
Morning.
I'm doing great, dude. I'm just excited having some Newbee versus OG. This is a classic right here.
2 teams that are definitely as the panel, I'm sure, I've talked about towards the of the group. And already, with the bans coming through, something that we're definitely seeing already at this TI, it's all about the individual teams. There are certainly these meta kind of big support picks, but other than that, you're looking at each team independently. You know, Newbee taking away this Spirit, Night Stalker that we know that OG like to do, and OG in return, bam, the Newbee classics, that Sand King, that Nyx Assassin that they're so good at utilizing, whether it's on KP or in the support role. And straight up, Wyvern first pick. That's a bold one.
That is a bold one. It's a hero that's gotten buffed so much in the past. I'm surprised it wasn't picked after we saw the Arctic Burn got buffed. It got increased 3 seconds on the flight. Then Cold Embrace got buffed. And earlier than that, his Winter's Curse cooldown was reduced down to 80. So he has received several buffs and can definitely want to be one of the more prominent 5s, because so far all we've really seen is like Shadow Shaman. That's one of our exclusive 5s.
Yeah.
OG ran a Dazzle. We've seen a couple other ones, maybe like a Witch Doctor here and there or something like that. But for the most part, it's been Shadow Shaman across the board. But yeah, these bans are, let's ban the 4s. Let's ban the roaming heroes. These are the ones that have been having the highest impact. They've been the ones that have been just the most impactful, particularly for Jarax, of course, from that Spirit. But yeah, lots of respect coming from both these teams. Clearly banning out, you know, Jarax's 2 heroes and then banning out Kaka and KP.
It'll be interesting to see as well how Newbee going to open. I mean, you mentioned the Shaman, something that we saw Faith picking up a few times yesterday. Definitely a chance that Newbee will just grab that in these opening 2 picks.
Yeah, they like the Shaman Puck opener. I know that's one of them. That's pretty good versus the Wyvern because they have magic damage between both of them. They have push. I don't know if they want to reveal the Puck right away, but they do have different ways that they have run it. Usually it's in the mid. But that's something that their style does really like.